I'm Dr. Kathleen Finan. I am a professor of biology at College of DuPage, and I teach anatomy and physiology. The first thing to know is that it has to do with the way that the nerves that carry sensation from the face, it's the way that they are arranged. First of all, we have a lot of small nerves that carry sensation from different parts of the face. And by face, we mean not just the skin of the face, but also the structures of the face, like the roof of the mouth and the nasal cavity. So those spaces also have nerves that carry sensation. There are nerves that carry sensation specifically from the roof of the mouth, from the hard palate. And those nerves are pretty small, but they merge into larger nerves and eventually into a single nerve called the trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve carries all the sensation from the face into an area of the brain called the brain stem. It's interesting that the brain itself doesn't have any sensory nerves in it. So sensations that would occur in the brain, like pain or touch or cold or hot sensations, if the brain is affected itself, there are no nerves to carry that information. So when we talk about a brain freeze, we're not actually experiencing pain in the brain itself. We're experiencing pain that's coming from structures in the face or in the skin of the head. And these areas, as I said, are served by this big sensory nerve called the trigeminal nerve. The nervous system has also a couple of quirks in it. And one of them is called referred pain. Referred pain is a phenomenon where pain that is actually coming from one part of the body is interpreted by the brain as coming from a different part of the body. And so referred pain doesn't just happen in the head and the face, but that's what we're talking about right now. Let's go back to where this pain sensation starts. So when we eat something very cold, and it could be ice cream or it could be something like a slushie, and we take a big bite or we eat it or drink it very quickly, what happens is that we tend to use our tongue to press it up against the roof of the mouth, which is called the palate. And the palate has small branches of these sensory nerves that are called palatine nerves. And the hard palate also has a lot of blood vessels in it. When something really cold is pressed up against the hard palate, the blood vessels in the hard palate will vasoconstrict, meaning they constrict and they kind of go into a spasm. So they will constrict themselves tightly just for a few seconds. But that is enough to stimulate the palatine nerves, and that sensation travels back through the trigeminal nerve and it ends up in the brainstem. And because of the referred pain phenomenon, the brain interprets this information as coming from a different part of the face or the forehead or even the back or sides of the head. Most people say that it's centered in the forehead, sometimes even behind the eyes. But what's happening there is that the sensory information is coming from the roof of the mouth through the palatine nerves. But because of referred pain, the brain interprets that information as coming from another area where there are different nerves that also feed into the trigeminal nerve. And so that is the pain sensation actually is coming from the effect of blood vessels in the hard palate undergoing a spasm or a tightening when they get hit with something very, very cold. There are a couple of things that you can do to prevent a brain freeze, one of which is not to take such a big bite of something that's very cold. A smaller bite is easier to handle in your mouth, and you can avoid pressing it against the roof of your mouth, the hard palate, if you take a smaller bite. A large bite of ice cream will probably get pressed up against the hard palate as you're getting ready to swallow it. It's important to try to warm up the hard palate so those blood vessels can relax. And your thumb being warm, pressing up against the hard palate, is going to warm up those blood vessels pretty quickly. The other thing that you can do is that you can have a warm drink, even something just like very warm water. And if you're eating ice cream and you feel the pain, take a sip of the warm water and make sure that you get the warm water up to the hard palate. And that usually relieves the pain in a few seconds.
Have you always been curious about the science around you? Submit your question and it could be featured in one of our upcoming videos. Visit cog.edu/STEM and click on So That Explains It.